The desert wind whispers a deadly secret, a secret that has been carried across borders and through time. It speaks of a collaboration born in the shadows, fueled by greed and chaos. In the dimly lit corners of the world, deals are made, hands are shaken, and money changes hands. These clandestine meetings are the breeding grounds for a new kind of terror. Mexican drug cartels, once content with flooding America's veins with poison, now seek to infect its heart, its political system. They have evolved from mere traffickers to power brokers, aiming to manipulate and control. They've found willing partners in the darkest corners of the world, groups fueled by hate and destruction. These alliances are not just about drugs or money, they are about power, influence, and the spread of fear. This is the new face of terror, a toxic partnership that threatens the very fabric of American democracy. The merging of cartel and terrorist symbols signifies a union that is both strategic and deadly. Politicians debate fiercely, security concerns mount, and the public grows increasingly anxious. The stakes have never been higher. Every second counts as the clock ticks down, and the intensity in the eyes of those involved reveals the gravity of the situation. It's a high-stakes game where the players are deadly serious and the consequences are dire. The cartels, with their vast wealth and ruthless efficiency, offer resources and reach. Their operations are well-funded and meticulously planned, with armed guards ensuring the smooth flow of contraband. Warehouses overflow with illicit goods, ready to be distributed. Terrorist groups, hungry for power and mayhem, bring ideological fervor and lethal expertise. Their propaganda videos spread their message far and wide, while their training sessions prepare them for devastating attacks. They are driven by a desire to disrupt and destroy. Together, they are a force multiplier, a threat that transcends borders and traditional security measures. In dark rooms, leaders plot their next moves, using maps to pinpoint multiple threat points. International borders become mere lines on a map, easily crossed by those determined to wreak havoc. This is a war fought not just on the streets, but in the halls of power, in the minds of citizens. Politicians speak passionately, protesters clash with police, and citizens watch the news with growing concern. The battle is everywhere, and its outcome will shape the future of nations. The cartels were never saints. Born from poverty and desperation, they rose to power on a tide of cocaine and blood. They carved out empires, ruling through fear and corruption. But something changed. The old rules no longer applied. The war on drugs, for all its good intentions, had unintended consequences. It fractured the cartels, creating smaller, more ruthless factions. Competition bred innovation, forcing them to diversify, to seek new markets and new alliances. And then came the terrorists. Seeing the chaos and opportunity, they reached out, offering a hand in darkness. The cartels, always pragmatic, saw the advantages. It was a marriage of convenience, a pact with the devil that would change everything. Evidence of this unholy alliance is mounting. Intelligence reports detail meetings in remote jungles, money changing hands under the cover of night, shared training camps where cartel soldiers learn the art of bomb making and terror tactics. The lines are blurring, the enemy becoming a hydra, with many heads all deadly. Hezbollah, with its global reach and sophisticated financing, has established deep ties. Their expertise in logistics and explosives is invaluable. Islamic extremist groups fueled by anti-American sentiment provide ideological cover and willing recruits. The cartels have become a gateway, a conduit for terror into the heart of America. Why target U.S. politicians? The answer is simple: fear. The cartels understand the power of intimidation. By striking at the heart of the American political system, they aim to sow discord, to erode public trust, to create chaos that they can exploit. A successful attack, or even the credible threat of one, could have devastating consequences. It could paralyze the government, undermine democratic processes, and shatter the fragile fabric of American society. The fear of assassination, of reprisal, could silence dissenting voices and embolden those who seek to profit from instability. Section 5: Smuggled guns, shared tactics. The collaboration takes many forms. The cartels, with their vast smuggling networks, provide a pipeline for weapons and personnel. The porous border, a constant source of political debate, becomes a gaping wound, bleeding danger. Guns flow south, drugs and money flow north, and hidden among them, the seeds of terror. But it's more than just logistics. The cartels, with their brutal efficiency, offer a chilling template for terror. Car bombings, once the hallmark of insurgents in distant war zones, now plague Mexican cities. Beheadings, kidnappings, torture, tactics designed to shock and awe, to spread fear and paralysis. Section 6. The digital battlefield. In this modern age, the internet has evolved from a simple communication tool into a complex and dangerous battleground. The internet, once a tool for connection, has become a weapon. It is now a vast network, where information is both a shield and a sword wielded by those who understand its power. Social media platforms are exploited to spread propaganda, to recruit and radicalize. These platforms, designed to bring people together, are now used to sow discord and division, turning friends into foes. Encrypted messaging apps provide a secure way to communicate and coordinate attacks, making it nearly impossible for authorities to intercept these clandestine conversations. Beyond the reach of law enforcement, these encrypted networks create a safe haven for criminals and terrorists alike, allowing them to operate with impunity. The cartels, masters of manipulation, understand the power of narrative. They craft stories that resonate with the disenfranchised, presenting themselves as saviors rather than criminals. They portray themselves as Robin Hood figures, distributing goods to the poor and providing services where the government has failed. Fighting against a corrupt government, they gain the support of the masses, who see them as the lesser of two evils. They exploit existing social divisions, amplifying grievances, turning neighbor against neighbor. This strategy of divide and conquer weakens communities from within. The digital battlefield is fluid and ever-changing, a dynamic environment where the rules are constantly being rewritten. It is a constant game of cat and mouse, with hackers always finding new ways to evade capture and authorities struggling to keep up. Traditional methods of surveillance and intelligence gathering are struggling to keep pace. The rapid advancement of technology has outstripped the ability of law enforcement to adapt. The enemy operates in the shadows, striking with impunity, their actions hidden behind layers of digital anonymity, then disappearing into the digital ether, leaving behind a trail that is almost impossible to follow. The digital battlefield is a new frontier, one that requires new strategies and new ways of thinking to navigate and control. Section 7. Echoes of violence. The evidence is not just in whispers and shadows, it's in the blood spilled on both sides of the border. The assassination of a Mexican presidential candidate, gunned down in broad daylight. The bombing of a U.S. consulate, a stark reminder of the reach and ambition of these unholy alliances. These are not isolated incidents. They are echoes of a larger conflict, a war that is being fought on multiple fronts with shifting alliances and shadowy enemies. The threat is real, the danger imminent. To ignore it is to invite disaster. Section 8. A call to awareness. We cannot afford to be complacent. The world around us is changing rapidly, and with it, the threats we face are becoming more complex and insidious. Every day, new challenges emerge that test our resolve and our commitment to safety and justice. The time for denial is over. We must confront the reality that these threats are not distant or abstract. They are here, in our communities, affecting our neighbors, our friends, and our families. Ignoring them only allows them to grow stronger. We must acknowledge the threat, understand its complexities, and act decisively to counter it. This means educating ourselves about the nature of these dangers, staying informed about the latest developments, and being proactive in our responses. This is not just a job for law enforcement or intelligence agencies. It is a responsibility that falls on each and every one of us. We must come together as a community, share information, and support one another in our efforts to stay safe. It requires a collective effort, a commitment from every citizen to be vigilant, to report suspicious activity, to resist the lure of fear and division. We must foster a culture of awareness and resilience where everyone feels empowered to take action. We must support our law enforcement agencies, provide them with the resources and training they need to combat this evolving threat. This includes not only funding and equipment but also the latest in technology and intelligence. We must demand our leaders take this threat seriously, enact sensible policies that address the root causes of violence and instability. This means holding them accountable, ensuring they prioritize the safety and security of our nation above all else. The future of our nation, the very survival of our democracy, may depend on it. Our actions today will shape the world we leave for future generations. Let us rise to the challenge, united in purpose and unwavering in our commitment to a safer, more just society.